In this session, we are going to take up the theme Teachers and the Students' Well-being, Indian Socio-cultural Perspectives. Esteemed Professor Sibia, esteemed faculty members of NIE and RIH, esteemed participants from KVs, JNVs, and other organizations, and those who are connected offline and online. We have three speakers in this first session, morning session, and we will we have two slots. So in the first slot, we'll discuss about teachers and students' well-being, Indian socio-cultural perspective. And I would like to invite Dr. Sarika C. Saju. Dr. Sarika C. Saju is a senior faculty from RI Bhopal and says a very eminent academician. So she is with us. I hope she is connected. Is Dr. Sarika there? Is Dr. Sarika connected? So
It's not there.
yeah, this socio-cultural perspective in teaching and learning. It's very important, especially in the country like India, where we have a diverse socio-cultural scenario. And when we think of teaching and learning, I think we have to understand the variations there in the society, the variations there in the culture, and how, as a teacher, how we take them, consider them in the classroom, in our style of teaching, and in our strategies. And there lies the concerns how we attend their mental health and even the teachers' mental health also. Uh, that affect so much there. So all these understandings.
Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, Dr. Sarika, you are audible. So I am just.
Hello.
Yes, Dr. Sarika, you are audible. I am just handing over.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, Dr. Sarika. Are you hearing? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. So,
okay.
Can we begin?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Okay. Sure. So Dr. Sarika C. Saju from RI Bhopal. Now she is going to present on teachers and students' well-being, Indian socio-cultural perspectives. Dr. Sarika.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And on the onset, thank you for inviting me to this very important conference. The topic is really relevant, and in today's current scenario, it will be good for us to discuss about this particular topic, that is well-being of teachers and students, especially in the context of Indian context and diversity. So I will share my presentation and then I will start my presentation. Please allow me to share my presentation. Sir, host has disabled participant for screen sharing. well-being of a nation. So, in the last 2 years, we have been talking about well-being as an important aspect of our life, and well-being, how well-being can be taken care of, and how it should be discussed in the part of our syllabus, and especially in the teaching learning process. But especially with the perspective of teacher learning process for teachers and students, because teaching learning process happens with the two important shareholders, between the two important shareholders in the field of education, that are teachers and students, and how their well-being, not as an individual but as a teachers and students, is important, that we really need to discuss. And I think it is a very important and relevant topic. And the conference has taken up this particular theme. Congratulations to the organizing committee and Neri Shillong also. So, when we talk about well-being of teachers and students, especially in the Indian socio-cultural perspective, if I move forward, I would like to discuss something about well-being. We know that what exactly is well-being, but let's experience and let's discuss something about well-being as a whole. So, if I look at well-being, what exactly is well-being? I understand well-being is the experience of health and happiness. What exactly is health for us? What exactly is our happiness? Everything depends on our well-being. And if we are not well, we cannot be healthy. If we are not well, we cannot be happy. And that is why well-being affects the entire dimension and entire aspects of our life. It is not only that when you are physically healthy, you can be happy. It is not only that when you are mentally healthy, you can be happy. But everything put together, health and happiness which proceeds to health, which proceeds to happiness, and happiness which in return support our health, all kinds of health. So I think well-being, it is a wholesome, it is a holistic experience of health and happiness, which is really required for human beings to build a positive society, to contribute for the development of nation. So that is why well-being is the experience of health and happiness. If I go to the next point, that is mental and physical health. We all know what exactly is physical health. We all know what is mental health. And we have been doing a lot of things, exercises, yoga, and meditation. And now there are many different therapies for mental health. Especially in the last 2 years, many therapies has come, many different measures and steps has come to maintain your mental strength, to grow your mental health in a positive way. But I think at the onset, we have to understand what exactly is the positive mental health and what exactly is the negative mental health. And the physical and mental health are very closely connected, very closely connected. When you don't feel well physically, you don't feel like doing anything. And this happens, if we talk about students and teachers, it happens in our classroom. It happens during our interaction. When the teacher doesn't feel well, he or she may not be able to deliver the classroom content or topic properly. And when the students are not feeling physically and mentally healthy, they may not be able to focus. They may not be able to attend. First of all, when the physical health is not good, they may not be able to attend. They may not be able to continue the way it has to be continued in the process of education. So mental and physical health both are very important part of well-being. Now, physical and emotional safety. Since we are talking about, especially in the terms of teachers and students, and that too in the diverse context of Indian society, safety plays a very important role. Safety, physical safety as well as emotional safety. How we are reaching to a particular place, when we are part of that particular place, how safe we feel physically. We can understand it all because we all come from different backgrounds. Gender also affects this physical and emotional safety factor. Men understand it differently. Women understand it differently. The same case happened with teachers of male and female, and the same case is with the students which are boys and girls. So physical and emotional safety is a very important point of well-being, because until unless you feel safe physically at the as well as emotionally, that your emotions will be taken care of, your emotional will be listened, you can express your emotion. You cannot be at comfortable level, you cannot feel comfortable in a particular environment, in a particular classroom, or in a particular school. So school culture plays a very important role when it comes to physical and emotional safety. Looking at current scenario, sometimes we come to know different, we come across different news happening in our country regarding physical safety of students and even in schools. There were some unfortunate incidents regarding physical safety of students in a school campus. And when it comes to emotional safety, there are various factors, there are various things which are happening. Bullying is one of the important, thing which we need to look into, which we need to address, because bullying can put anybody to the backtrack, and then it can alienate the person from the entire process of learning. So physical and emotional safety is a very important aspect of well-being, and we really need to take care of this particular aspect. Now, feeling of belongingness. Until unless I feel safe, I feel secure, I feel that I'm able to express, people are there to listen to me, people are there to understand me, the feeling of belongingness cannot be developed. And until we are able to develop that feeling of belongingness. And after that, we have to nurture it, because developing is one thing and nurturing the feeling of belongingness is another level of this particular thing. So feeling of belongingness to your environment, that environment can be your society, that environment can be your community, that environment can be your school, can be your campus or your classroom, is very important, because if you don't have feeling of belongingness, you don't feel yourself that you're a part of that particular place. And if you don't feel that you're a part of that particular place, you don't feel like doing something and contributing something and getting something from that particular place. So feeling of belongingness is also very important, as we understand when we work at some place, we feel that we belong to that particular institute, as we have the feeling with NCERT. Now then, sense of purpose. Whenever we are in a process, whenever we are at a place, whenever we are in an environment, we should have a sense of purpose. When I'm sitting here, what is the purpose of my sitting here? Students, teachers should have that feeling in their mind, that what is the sense of purpose, why exactly they are there, and if they are not there, how that purpose is going to achieve. So if they are not part of that process, that purpose, the achievement of this purpose will be affected. That particular feeling should be in the mind of teachers and students, wherever they are, in any kind of activity they are. So sense of purpose, make you more, pushes you to contribute more, to product more, and it gives you positive feeling towards the particular cause. So it is very important. Achievement and success. When you have a purpose, you try to lead to some achievement and then success. So all these things which I have talked about regarding well-being, in a holistic manner, each and everything is very important when we talk about well-being. And I was trying to connect it with the school education process in which we are all shareholders. Let's move to well-being of students. First, let's talk about why well-being of students is important. So, well-being of students affect learning process of students. The students come to class, the students come to school for a particular purpose, for a particular cause. Every education policy and every nation look at a school for gaining, for attaining certain objectives, for certain vision. Every country has got a vision, and to achieve that vision, we have got certain objectives, and we look at a younger generation to achieve those objectives. And school education help us through students to achieve those perspectives. So that is why well-being of students is very important, because it really contributes in the development of a nation, in the progress of a nation. So good quality education is the foundation of health and well-being. Unless you have good quality education, you cannot have a basic strong foundation of health and well-being. If you don't have positive personalities in a country, if you don't have positive thinkers in school education system, it is going to be very difficult to build a nation which is progressive and broad in terms of thinking and action. So, education, which is not only education, but a good quality education, is a foundational requirement for the health of a country and nation. Children's well-being influences their ability to learn. If the students, if the children are not in the good shape of health and mental health and emotional health, if their well-being is not properly taken care of, they cannot learn properly. And if they cannot learn properly, if the process can be broken in between, then it is really going to affect the entire their learning process. And school is about learning, school is about sharing, and school is about expressing. So, if their well-being is not being taken care of, it is going to hinder, it is going to restrict the entire process of learning of students, which is a very important thing to be looked after. Now, what do they get when they come to school? They learn the ways to lead a healthy and productive life. Because as we talk about socialization, school is the second most important agency of socialization. First one is family, second one is school. So when they come to a school, they learn how to be healthy, how to be productive in their life. And this productivity is not only related to the educational aspect only. It is not only related to curriculum, textbook, and exams and results. It is much more than that. School is a place which make them capable of gaining experience of different kinds of feeling, like sharing, cooperation, conflict resolution, adaptation, adjustment. So school is a place which provide all sorts of dimensions of a healthy life. And in a school, students, learners, they learn how to bring all those things into their life. And these all values make their life productive, because productivity of your life depends on in which way you are contributing, in which way you are taking care of yourself. Contribution is the second step. The first step, that how you are taking care of yourself, how you are nurturing your brain, how you are taking those values, and how you are doing action with those values. So school is a place which prepares the children to become healthy and productive, not only as an individual, but as a member of a society, as a member of nation. And that is why well-being of the students is very important. And school is also a place where they gain knowledge. Knowledge, again, not only the knowledge of books, not only the knowledge of the concept which is there in their books, but the knowledge of the life, how to live life, how to be a good citizen, how to be a good individual, or maybe how to be a good friend, how to be a good daughter, or how to be a good son, or how to be a good neighbor, and how to be a partner, which is very important. How to be a partner in each and every process, whether it's a small or big process, from the beginning till the end. How to be a partner in the processes which are happening around us, whether maybe in society or in community or at school. Because once we learn to be a partner uh, in the processes which are happening in our country. And slowly we learn that how participation of each and every individual is important. We need not to sit back, but we have to come forward, and then we have to take part in each and everything. So that particular kind of knowledge also students gain from school, and that is why well-being of students is very important. Let's move to the next thing, which is well-being of teachers. Now, I say in the beginning that there are two partners in the teaching learning process. One is a student, one is teacher. If the teacher is not well, then the entire process is going to be affected, and that too in a negative way. Teacher is a person who is, I will say the center of attraction. As a teacher, I can understand the teacher is a person who is center of attraction in the classroom. Whether we talk about behavioristic approach of teaching, or whether you talk about constructive approach of teaching, or you talk of any kind of pedagogy in teaching learning process, but teacher has to be in the center, and teacher has to carry out all the aspects of whatever pedagogy or whatever approach you adopt for teaching and learning. So if the teacher is not well, if the well-being of teacher is not being taken care of, it is really going to affect and hamper the entire process. You can make very good syllabus, you can make very good curriculum, you can make very good textbook, you can adopt wonderful pedagogy approaches for teaching learning process. But if teacher is not well, if teacher is not well equipped to carry on with all those things, nothing can be bring into the classroom. The person who brings everything into the classroom is teacher, and that she does with the help of the learners. As we talk in constructive is approach, that we construct knowledge with each other, students with the help of learner, and we call teacher as facilitator. So this is well-being of teacher is linked to effectiveness of teaching that I have been talking about. And impact on achievement of a student. If teacher is unable to teach properly or unable to connect with the students properly, it will definitely affect the achievement of students in all the dimension, any kind of social, emotional, physical, academic dimension of student. Then improve outcomes. If the teacher's well-being is good, then it improve outcomes among learners. We talk about learning outcomes these days. There has to be learning outcomes for each and every class, for each and every concept. So if the teacher is well, the well-being of teacher is been taken care of, learning outcomes will be improved. There has to be a supporting and caring relationship between teacher and a student. And if both are well, physically, emotionally, and mentally, they can maintain, they can have a very supporting and caring relationship, which is an important part of teaching learning process. So now come to the Indian context and diversity. If you talk about Indian context and diversity, India is a multicultural, multilingual society. We all know it's a unique nation. India is a unique nation with so many languages, with so many religions, and with so many ethnicity. If we start talking about diversity in India, it's a thing beyond. We cannot put words. It takes a lot of time to even describe the diversity of India, and we are blessed to live in such a nation which has got such diverse cultural background and diverse historical background that it gives us more strength and a lot of thinking to reflect upon that we are part of such a beautiful legacy. So if we talk about Indian context and diversity, let's look at certain points. I have noted down that by ethnic diversity, India is very rich when it comes to ethnic diversity. When it comes to linguistic diversity, we have many languages, official languages, and when you go abroad, it is difficult for other people to imagine that we have got so many languages in a country. Regional diversity, we have got regional diversity, not in terms of language, not in terms of only way of life, but in terms of food, in terms of dresses, in terms of festival, each and everything. Now, then there is economic diversity, which we talk in terms of classes, and then religious diversity. India, of course, has many religion in our country. So, if you look at diversity in Indian context, we are a really diverse nature, and it provides us a lot of strength to think and reflect and act in a broader perspective and a broader sense. So, if I look at the themes which are in Indian society on which we have to reflect, we talk about teachers and students' well-being. Then we have to look into these themes which are there in Indian society. Because when you're talking about well-being of teachers and students, there is diversity in our classroom, and until unless we are aware of those diversity, until unless we understand those diversity, we will not be able to take care of well-being of students and teachers in the school education system. So, sir, how much time do you have?
Dr. Sarika,
Yes, sir.
uh,
How much time do I have?
within 4 minutes you can conclude.
Okay, okay. Because looking at your face, I came to know that I have to rush, so that's why I asked. Okay. So I will conclude in 4 minutes. Fine. So, themes in Indian society, I have put these particular themes because these are very important when we talk about especially well-being of teachers and students in school education system. Because since we are a diverse society, we have different kind of systems, different kind of values, different kind of way of living, and different kind of traditions and culture in a society. So these are like class, caste, gender, rural urban differences, hierarchy, purity and pollution, and social interdependence. If I take these themes in Indian society, let me take first hierarchy, and then I can link class, caste, and gender with hierarchy. Every system, whether it's a formal system or informal system, has a hierarchy. It puts some people on the top, it puts some people in the middle, and it puts some people at the lower level. And it is said that hierarchy is there to maintain the working of a particular system, because if you don't add a hierarchy, nobody knows what kind of work one has to do. But this particular kind of hierarchy, limits and restricts the equal opportunities for people in life. And when it comes to Indian society, you can see it with reference to class, with reference to caste, and with reference to gender. Because this particular hierarchy, class hierarchy, caste hierarchy, and gender hierarchy, has created a gap between people in the system. And since we are human beings, we are part of this particular society. And with that particular mindset, we go to the school, we go to the classroom. This particular hierarchy we take into the classroom, and it hinders the well being of students and teachers. The same case with purity and pollution and social interdependence. Now, this is my last slide. What kind of measures we can take to maintain the well-being of students and teachers? We have to promote multiculturalism. We have to understand that my way of life is not only the one way of life, there are multiple ways of life. We have to promote multilingualism. Only one language is not a language of my country or my region. There are many languages, and every culture and every language is as important as my language and culture. We have to foster partnerships, because partnership is very important. We have to teach our students that how we can foster partnership. Community holding, we have to come together, help each other, respect each other, and promote each other, and we have to progress with one another. Connecting with one another, we have to connect with one another. And that is the only way we can take care of well-being of ourselves and well-being of others and well-being of education in a holistic way, because education ultimately affects teacher and students, and in turns it affects society and nation. So thank you so much. I hope I have not crossed the time limit. Thank you for giving me time. I will stop sharing my slide.
Thank you, Dr. Sarika. Thank you, Dr. Sarika. Dr. Sarika has nicely elaborated on some vital aspects of teaching, learning, the basic purpose of education, the basic purpose of students coming to the school, and how these things they are related with uh, teachers and students' mental health. He talked about at length the importance of mental health of teachers, students, the emotional, the physical well-being of teachers and the students. She also talked about the safety, the security need of learners as well as teachers in the school system. And uh, then she focused on the belongingness that is very much required. And the belongingness comes, as she mentioned, that when all these needs are fulfilled, the basic purpose for which a student comes to the classroom or the school, that has to be met. And once that is met, then that triggers the good mental health, emotional health. The school is again a very small replica of the society, a miniature society that she mentioned. And she also talked about that how this teaching learning process can uh, meet the diverse need of children in the classroom, because society is very diverse. Indian society is very diverse, as you mentioned. And she talked about the class or caste or hierarchy, the social system, and there we need how we need to address the multilingualism and all those things. And the what I could find that she focused, stressed more on the partnership. How can we foster the partnership feeling? How can we be a good partner everywhere in life? That is the main thing she focused. Thank you, Dr. Sarika, for elaborating, deliberating so nicely, because you have been a very eloquent speaker, I know. So you have done wonderful. You have spoken at length and you have touched upon many points. Now we have another very, very eminent speaker with his Dr. Krishnan K. Soni. He is associate professor in clinical psychology, hailing from PGI-MER, Chandigarh. Is Dr. Krishnan connected?
Yes, good morning, sir. I'm here only.
Oh, good morning, Dr.
Good morning,
Krishnan.
sir.
Welcome. Now I am handing over the stage to you, Dr. Krishnan. Please.
Thank you very much, sir. And I think this is a very delighted moment here to be present, and I'm really thankful to organizing committee for this conference organized by Northeast Regional Institute of Education, Shillong. I don't know much about the organizing team, but really at that point of time, I must be thankful. So my presentation, I'll just put my presentation here. If you can make me co-host, sir, that will be very easy for me. Yeah, thank you. I hope my slides are visible, sir.
We can see.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. Now, my voice is okay. My slides are visible.
Quite audible. You are quite
Fine, sir. Thank you, sir. First of all, I must thankful to Dr. Sarika, who has given wonderful lecture on well-being, and she made my task very easy. So I will not go in much detail of well-being. Yes, I will discuss few of the basic things, like whatever we are discussing in our day-to-day life, day-to-day practice in my clinical setting. So we'll start from some history. So before that, I'll just show my outline of the seminar. That would be introduction, ancient aspect of education, importance of mental health, psychosocial factor in mental health, social consequences, etiological issues, management, and will conclude my session. So first of all, I'll just get back to you in history, the ancient children's education, which is very, very important aspect. Like all the children in past also must be educated regardless of their gender or family. They don't have that formal school or formal college on that particular time, but there was Gurukul, and that has been run by the Acharya. That was the practice, like male children go to the male Guru Acharya and girls goes to female Acharya. That was the basic system of that particular time in history, that Guru Chela issues we are talking about. And all children are born like Shudra. There was no education. Without education and on the basis of their sanskaras, they used to call it that Shudra. But once they are assessed by the attitude, by the education system, they used to put into Varnas. So that was the history of that particular education system. And the person who are highly intelligent, suitable for higher studies, called as Brahmana. The person who is very highly physically strong, powerful, brave, they used to call it Kshatriya. And the person who is ability to enrich or accumulate the information called as Vaishya. The person who is healthy, strong, having good nature is called as, Shudra Varna. So these were the ancient time when we are talking about education system. At the same time, if we talk about 500 BC Jainism, it doesn't have special provision for the concept of education on children, but it has basic tenets. For example, we're talking about ahimsa, satya, brahmacharya, and apicharya, which is definitely followed in Jainism. If we comes into Buddhism, the same disciple was there, but there was some difference. Like, for example, life rule for children, life rule for disables, and life rule for girls. The same thing, like whatever we are calling in sanskaras or whatever we are calling in history of the education. On that time also there was the issues with children. We're not saying nowadays there is anxiety, there is a depression or mental health issues or well-being issues are there. But at the time of history, there was some problem. For example, we're talking about headache, shirogra, pica, bad beating, and teeth grinding. There was a problem in past also, which we are following here. But in current scenario, that picture is changed. That picture is basically we are talking about somewhere is anxiety, somewhere is depression, somewhere is bulimia or eating disorder or another kind of mental health issues. These mental health issues on the both dimension rather than we are talking about only students or education system or only on the child, but that can be on all both the parties. For example, we are talking about teachers'
The
perspective.
slide is not moving. The slide is not moving.
Oh my God! Just a minute, sir. Now it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Can you enlarge it?
Yeah, now it's moving, sir.
Not yet. Again,
Just,
it's got a step.
I'll just rejoin, then I'll see. Just a minute. Yeah. Please check it out, sir. It can be visible and moving.
It is visible. Can you move it?
Yeah. Now it's moving?
No, no,
No.
no. Can you go to slide share?
Yeah, I'm on slide share only, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Just let me see.
Em nhìn ra mềm là như thế. Cái đừng issue rồi.
Now it's okay. It's moving.
Yes, yes, it's coming. Can you make it bigger?
If I'm making it bigger, I don't know whether it's moving or not. Again, sir?
We can see the different slide.
Okay, fine. Then it's okay now, huh? So basically, as we have discussed the ancient time of education system,
Can you make it bigger?
this is a slideshow, sir.
It's very small. We can't read it. Anyway, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay. So we were talking about the mental health issues currently, whatever we are facing, like depression, anxiety, we were discussing. Now, if we talk about etiological, historical aspect, that was basically constructed with Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. But nowadays, if we talk about current scenario, that is in children's perspective, we are talking about, student perspective, we are talking about, the mental health, especially in adolescent, is highly stigmatized and sometimes ignored in India. That is well proved true. And there is education system which has been, have always criticized or having unrealistic expectation from the student. Or we can say the rigid curriculum, exhaustive hour, and impaired creativity in our student can lead to or toll to our mental health and physical well-being. And another aspect which we talk about examination and test score is a different aspect which double the burdens. Now, if we talk about the perception of the student at that particular hour, for example, if we talk about the learning experiences, classroom teaching, instructions, success and failure, interaction with the teacher or principal outcome. So these give the perception of the student, and on that particular time, their expectation would be different. For example, the child should have that adaptability. He must be trusting to others. The satisfaction level should be high. The responsibility of doing well in life. So these are the few things which always happen in students' life. Or nowadays, as we are seeing body image, the self-esteem, confidence, peer pressure. So these are the basic domain which basically hamper the mental health of the individual. But here that is very pertinent. We have to discuss what is mental health. Only cognitive, behavior or emotional aspect, or if a person can think, feel or behave in a normally manner or in an adjusted manner, called as part of mental health. And this is the capacity of an individual or a group or environment to adjust with the surroundings. There are three basic domains according to WHO, as we are well aware about that particular fact: physical health, mental health, and social well-being. All these three domains are very, very important. Here we are discussing these domains because if there is awareness of mental health, because we are here to discussing all these issues so that we can aware about this particular effect, which is very, very important, which is very pertinent. And you can see after this pandemic period, which has been just over, the mental health problem has been exaggerated. So awareness is very important part. And this mental health awareness means that we are not only acknowledging the mental health importance, but we are putting it out there so that people can feel too much about that particular issues, and we can educate the people about mental health issues and illness. Why mental health important? Mental health is very important. As we see the current scenario, more than 90% of adult population is suffering with psychiatric illness. Any kind of psychiatric illness we can call anxiety spectrum or depression or suicidal behavior. And this recent survey by 2016 revealed that 15% of Indian adults need active intervention from mental health services. This is YLD, that years lived and disability, has been shown the data of 2017 that this is a serious challenge of health system. And why we are discussing at this particular time, because low income and middle income countries are basically a sufferer of mental health issues. There can be three major reasons if we talk about mental health issues and well-being: the biological factor, the psychological factor, and the social factor. All these three factors, biology, psychology, and social, can lead to mental health illness, or it can be vice versa. So here, this biopsychosocial model is very, very important. Biology well proved this fact, like genetic vulnerability is very important. Then psychological factor is very important when we are talking about personality of the student, when we are seeing the mental health issues in that particular group. Coping mechanism, problem solving abilities, how they discuss with their issues. Then definitely social issues. So here we are giving more importance towards psychosocial issues, which is pertinent to this session. Like vulnerability of mental issues in child. That's why if we try to remove these particular vulnerabilities, maybe we are going towards well-being. So like school stress is very important aspect. Then the history of substance abuse, rejection by other, stressful relationship, low support group, and major life event. So these are the few vulnerability stress in that particular population. But at the same time, there must be some protective factor. Like every time we won't say this stress can lead to mental health issues. Like for example, work stress or student or school stress. There must be some protective factor, which basically, protect that particular burden, like good coping skills, good social support system, and good neighborhood. That's why these protective factors are very important, and this particular factor we have to teach to the student. What can be the social consequences of these particular issues? Once these symptoms will start or mental health problem will start, there must be so many social issues are concerned with that particular domain. For example, stigma. As we said, like if somebody is having physical issues or physical problem, he can freely discuss this issue with their peer group or with their family or with their neighbors. But if he talks about psychiatric issues, mental health issues in children, they never discuss these issues. Even not children, if he talks about the family member, they will be hesitant to go to the service provider because of the stigma or labeling. Once they will be labeled as depressed child or anxious child, their label will be permanent labeling. So that is a one factor which we should take care. Then social class and mental illness. There are various studies has been shown that the mental illness can be related with social class, like lower social class and higher social class. All the social class is having some or other kind of issues. Then the burden of globalization in mental health. Then poverty and mental illness, disaster and mental illness. As you have seen after COVID, the mental health problem has been exaggerated. You can see the prevalence which has been, devastatingly increased after this COVID. Then mass media and mental illness. Somewhere we are saying this media is giving psychoeducation or awareness program to the mental illness, but at the same time, sometimes this problem can be exaggerated through that media. Then gender and mental illness. If we basically see the differences between male-female issues with mental illness, there is a gender differences. Then violence and mental health, as we are talking about domestic violence and psychiatric issues or mental health issues. These are the social factor which is very important. Here, few studies are very important which I want to discuss with you. There is one famous study known as International Pilot Study for Schizophrenia. Why social factor are important? Why psychological factor are important? This study is showing when this studies has been done in India, they have seen maximum cases of schizophrenia has been found in India. At the second time, in the second phase, they have seen the maximum prognosis was very good in India. Why? Because of sports system. India has very neat sports system. Due to that sports system, the illness can be treatable. That can be recoverable through that connectivity of the family member. So these social factors are very important when we are talking about the improvement. Here, the major concern is student life. As we are saying, mental health is very important and all the factors we have to concentrate, for example, biological, psychological, and social. The major concern, if we see from their eye, from their perspective, that can be stress, which is very, very important aspect. Though this stress is everywhere and everybody is facing this stress. But in child population, because in student population, the academic stress is too much. But if this academic stress is chronic, that can lead to depression, anxiety, and substance abuse. Here we have to rectify so that their life can be modified towards well-being. And there can be some early warning sign that should be very much aware at the perspective of teacher, neighbors, family member, and healthcare provider. For example, eating or sleeping too much or too little. These are the few early warning signs in child population or student population, which we have to be very keenly observant. The pulling away from the people. They used to avoid from the routine activities. Absenteeism from the school. They are having low energy, unexplainable pains, aches, healing or fighting with family member and friends. So these are the few early warning signs we should be very take care. That's why if we are preventing that particular illness, here the model is not, giving treatment to that particular population. Our model is to how to prevent it. That's why if we prevent, then only we can discuss about well-being. Then the mental health as a teacher, that is another important aspect, because if we talk about the school education program, the basic, the healer is teacher. Teacher, you have a unique relationship with the young people. That is their characteristic which we have to take care. Teachers are expected to act as a parents, as a counselor, as a tutor, and many more. And teachers should know about the mental health issues. That is another aspect. And what mental health and why mental health is important, that should be the key area of discussion. Student basically comes with their problem to the teacher because they trust, because they respect, because they know whatever they will discuss with the teacher, that is confidential. These are the ethical issues to that student used to report these issues. If that teacher-student relationship is very good, can come out that particular issues. And here there must be few domains where we have to discuss, like how to on the perspective of the teacher, on the perspective of student can be important. For example, be prepared to listen. The teacher should be non-judgmental, calm, accepting. That can show their care, time and attention. These are the important aspects. If these things are there in that particular loop, maybe that student-teacher relationship plus mental health issues and that cry for help can be useful in that particular domain. Various models has been come out, like WHO initially has started the school mental health program, and that is recommended 4 basic levels. One is promotion of psychosocial competence, which need to integrate it in the school curriculum. That is the first important aspect. Then focus of mental health education. As we discussed, mental health education is important once awareness would be there. If there is no awareness, if we can't rectify that stigma or we can't rectify that labeling, we can't do anything on that particular domain. So we should remove that particular issue. Then we should focus the person who is in need. Like if they need psychosocial intervention in school, yes, the special educator are there, they are giving that particular task. Another very important task, professional help. If teachers think that this problem is really going to be increasing, towards that major aspect, then we have to...
Sir, please conclude in 5 minutes.
Right, definitely I will do. Right, so these are the few aspects which is very important. Then management of at the school teacher, that WHO has given that life skill which is everybody knows, self-awareness, empathy, critical thinking. This is particular on the part of student, which is very important. Then if we can see this thinking, personal, interpersonal skills, these are the important aspects we have to take care. Another method we can use, like psychoeducation method, discussion method, and group work, useful for that particular management. Then stress management, as we discussed, if we can build that psychological vulnerability to the child, maybe it can be helpful for that particular conditions. So all these methods are very helpful to increase that particular issues, right? So on student part, there is 3 basic issues: thinking, interpersonal communication, negotiation. On the teacher's part, non-judgmental communication and empathetic listening. Right? So I will just conclude with all this one. The role of both teacher and parents are very important in holistic development of the mind. Holistic development means what? Maximization of growth and development, adequate socialization, development of cultural and spiritual insight, optimization of mental efficiency, improving mental efficiency, and management of available resources. So these are the few issues which is important from the both part. That's why with this concern we can go towards mental health well-being, right? So with this, I must thankful to my this one. Thank you very much.
Uh, Thank you very much, Dr. Krishnan. As expected, you explained everything from the clinical perspective, the clinical psychology, and it was so nice. And I think it is very, very much beneficial for all of us. You talked about the journey of human civilization, education, and how in the initial days, the Guru Chela, when the Guru Chela system was there, and during the Varna system also, uh, these issues were there. Even during Jainism and Buddhism, uh, in their tenets also these issues were very much addressed, and these issues were there, and we found some solutions there. And you talked about the present scenario, which is very, very, I mean, one thing which I could find is that when you said the very, very vulnerable period is the adolescence period, and you quoted one data that talks about that nearly 15% of the population they are acute in nature and they need intervention. I mean, it's a very sizable population and it's very scary. And you also talked about how we can address this problem in our system through schools, how school and parents, teacher and parents. And one thing you highlighted that's very pertinent that actually the basic healer is the teacher in the school system. So, teacher along with parents, I think much can be done because this triangle, the biological, the psychological, and the social factors. I mean, these three triangular aspects, they play a very key role in this mental health issues, and the solution also lies there. So you have touched upon many things, and you have suggested many ways how school can address and how we can together address this mental health issues in our school system for teachers as well as the students. Thank you very much, Dr. Krishnan, for your a specific input on the mental health from the clinical perspective. Thanks a lot. Now we have one more speaker with us, Ms. Remya Iyer. Now this is, I think, this part will be from the school perspective. She is a PGT, postgraduate teacher in KB IIT Guwahati, and she will be speaking on culturally relevant practices for enhancing mental health and well-being. I think it's very important, and that too from the practice perspective, school perspective. So I would like to invite Ms. Remya Iyer to take the charge. Please.
Namaste, everyone. Thank you, sir, for the beautiful introduction. I have been awarded many distinguished accolades in my life. But personally, I think what gave me maximum satisfaction, what gave me immense purpose in life is some of the practices that I'm going to share with you. Because of lack of time, I have just chosen 7 practices that I have adopted to heal myself and heal my students throughout the last couple of years that I have been engaged with them. Now, before I begin these cultural practices, relevant practices, most important thing that we all need to think at the end of the day, what difference are we making to ourselves and to every life that we are touching upon? How do I make this difference? Even just by being, just by communicating, just by doing certain things that can lift up any soul, that creates a huge impact in the lives of the students and in general everyone. So without further ado, let me move on to my first cultural practice. Next slide, please. It's 7 steps to a better you. So I'm going to the first cultural practice, which is gratitude. In life, most of the times we are all stuck at certain times when we feel that nothing good is happening to us. Sometimes our mind gets blocked in perceiving all the blessings that each one of us receive every single day. And it happens in the case of students also. I have many students who come to me and tell me, ma'am, मेरी जिंदगी में कुछ भी सही नहीं हो रहा है, सब गलत हो रहा है. Means nothing is going right in my life. To open up our souls and to find out what is it that's going right in our life. So it's so important. Gratitude, the tool is so very important to tap, to bring mental health and well-being in our life. So how do we go about doing that with the students? What I do in my classrooms is this. I ask the students to write the gratitude journal. In the gratitude journal, they answer certain questions because initially they are not used to thinking like this. So they answer these questions. I am grateful. It's not just that I am grateful. I am grateful to my family and friends because the reason is very important. It is not just the expression of gratitude. Why am I grateful? So it shifts our perspectives to a new paradigm. I am grateful for who I am. How I really think? What am I really worth? What am I contributing every single day? And it is so important to make every child feel that there is something invaluable in them. They are so much worthier for what they are. And they should know why they are worthy. And at the end of the day, it's a beautiful exercise just to tap 3 events. It could be anything. It could be that you gave something to someone unconditionally. That person cannot even do anything to you. Or it could be that you brought a smile to someone, or someone brought a smile to you. It could be anything that made you happy, or any positive emotions that you have experienced at the end of the day. Just tap those 3 events and write it down. What happens during this exercises? I've seen my children coming up after 21 days, after 1 month of this practice, and they say, ma'am, we find happiness every single day. We feel good at the end of the day. We find that in spite of lot of wrong things that is happening to us, there is something good. And we are able to help others also in this process because you light up one life, they are going to light up many other lives. And there are some other tools that I've written here that any one of us can adopt besides the gratitude journal. One is just saying thanks. You get up in the morning, say thank you for being alive. You get fresh water, air to breathe, food on the table. You're alive that particular day to bring in so many blessings to yourself and to others. Say thank you. To anyone who has helped you, say thank you. That brings so many more blessings and abundance in your life. Next is mindfulness walk. Most of us, I have experienced it personally in my life, we go in a robotic mode. We might be eating, we might be walking, we might be talking without being fully present in that moment. What am I eating? How does it smell? How does it taste? We have food on the table, we are eating, but how conscious are we at that moment about what we eat? It's the same thing when we walk. We go to the nature. How much are we able to sense the sounds, see the beauty around us? How conscious are we about the touch of any flower or leaves around us? How mindful are we when we take every step and walk? It's so very important to be at the present moment, right here, right now, without thinking about the past, without worrying about the future. Just being in the moment brings in a lot of happiness and inner peace. If only we can teach our students and teach ourselves, even when we slip many a times in a particular day, even when we bring back our awareness and attention and remind ourselves to be mindful, we see that our life is transforming. We are tapping more happiness and peace in our everyday life. Next is gratitude letter. I have done this multiple times in my life. There are many moments in my life where I felt I could have been more grateful to that person. I could have told that person how much that person was worthy in my life and brought about change in my life. I didn't do that at that particular time. It is okay. Now I can write a letter to that person and say what that person did, thought, brought changes in my life, made a complete different dimension in my life. So write gratitude letters once in a week, once in a month. Yeah, it brings in joy in yours and the other person's life. And it will motivate you to do better, be better every single day. Last one is gratitude conversations. When you are communicating with every person, are you expressing gratitude to that person for being a very good patient listener, for being with you at that particular moment and adding value to your life, to your conversations? So let's all practice this gratitude every single day. Let me move on to the next slide. This is peace in the body, very, very important tool. Why peace in the body is important? When we look at ourselves, many a times we are not sure about the feelings, emotions that we are experiencing. Sometimes it's so very strong that we feel swept away by the emotions and the feelings that we are feeling underneath. At this age, if I can feel, then what about our students? So it's very important that we teach them to be tuned to their body and experience their emotions and feelings just as they are. Accept it just as they are. So I have two exercises. One is relaxation exercises, which help them to tune to their body. This relaxation exercise is of two categories, which I have brought here. One is a particular pranayam, which I make the children do to activate themselves before the class begins. Another one is a body scan exercise. When you feel that you are overwhelmed at the end of the day, you can just do this body scan exercise, tune into every part of your body, experience pain or discomfort or whatever is stuck in your body, and feel at ease with whatever you are experiencing. Can the first video be played, please?
Yeah, I got. Video unavailable.
Okay, you can play that. This is the video that I have, this is my regular class sessions with class 7 of my school. I teach in Kendriya Vidyalaya IIT Guwahati, Assam. And every day I ensure that I do any of these particular exercises with my children before I enter into my lesson. I believe it's not getting played for some reason. Oh, icon system.
Yeah.
Okay, I do not want to waste my time. Maybe I'll just go through this particular body scan exercise with my own voice. Okay, let's go to the body scan exercise. In this exercise, I ask my students to close their eyes, sit erectly, feel comfortable in their body, and just listen to my voice. Initially, we start by tuning in to the toes. So I ask the students to bring their attention to the toes. 5 toes in the right leg and 5 toes in the left leg. Once their attention is focused in the toes, I tell them, tell your body to relax. Just relax and ask yourself, what are you feeling right at this moment? Are you feeling any pain, any discomfort? Gently shift your attention to the ankle and the calves. Send some love and kindness. Calves are the second heart. And we stand all throughout the day and never send love and kindness to that body part that helps us to stand. Send some healing and kindness to that body part and just relax. Shift your attention to the knees and thighs. Many insecurities, traumas, blocks, resistances are stored in thighs and hips of our region, our body. We feel we are not enough. We feel we are not good enough comparing ourselves with others. Let's relax this body part. Tell it, I'm sorry if I have not loved you enough. You're beautiful just the way you are. And just relax. And send some love and kindness to your thighs and hips. Shift your attention to the spinal cord and all the vertebrae and ask it to relax. Bring some love and kindness to that region. Shift your attention to the stomach region and chest region. All the organs involved there, intestine, stomach, liver, gallbladder, your lungs. Send healing and loving light to those regions. It's doing its function every single day without fail. If there is any pain and discomfort, breathe to that part, breathe to that region, and ask the region to relax. Shift your attention to the neck and the brain and the facial parts.